Hi, I've not done one of these before, but I thought I'd do a bit of a voiceover for a recent oil pastel painting. So this is of a mountainscape. It was very brave to attempt I'd not used this size before or this paper, so I wasn't really sure how it would go. But to be fair, it did go quite well, but I will say it's a trust the process. I definitely learned a lot with this piece. And if you're familiar with oil pastels, I've not really got a specific brand that I've been using. These ones are Montmartre, but they're quite good, but they're very thick in that once they're on the page, it's quite hard to get anything over the top of it. And I've seen other oil pastels which are more like a chalk in how they go together. But yeah, this one wasn't quite that. But with the trees here, I was kind of just throwing it all together, and in hindsight now I would do kind of a drawing beforehand with the oil pastel of the outlines of everywhere I was going. But for this one, obviously I didn't have that in mind, and I just kind of went for it. In hindsight, again, this is just not how it would really come together. It's quite difficult to put a piece together without any sort of visual aid of where you should be going. I mean, I was using a photograph, but there was nothing on the paper to actually identify where these things should be, so it was a bit of a free-for-all, but it did come together quite nicely. You can see with the layering that it's going on kind of smudged already. It doesn't layer up, it kind of blends more than anything, so it is quite difficult to kind of build up from that base once it's on. If you do a very light covering and blend it out, then you can generally get some depth in there, but with the darker colours especially, then it's quite difficult to build once that layer is down, which again was a learning curve with this one. I hadn't done anything of this size, and this was a new medium for me, the paper as well, because it was mixed media paper. But altogether, I would definitely say this was a good piece, in that I did learn a lot with my layering. So now I will always go in, ignore my head, go in with a base layer blended out to then build up. And I will say that oil pastel pencils would probably go a long way with this as well in terms of detail. This is a relatively small size piece, as in it's A4, so it is quite difficult to get that level of detail with a medium that is so thick to use. That is obviously due to me as well, with like heavy-handedness, but it definitely was worth going through this to kind of progress to where I'm at the moment, which isn't that far ahead, but definitely ahead of where this is. Like in the middle, you can see it's quite blurry. I do come back on this to this part of the painting, but for this moment it is kind of a lost cause. But yeah, the blending with the fingers as well, it doesn't really work that well without the base layer, but I do think I can't really find any other way to do this well enough. I did use some earbuds that are like makeup earbuds, which are pointed, and they were okay, but you don't get as much like length and breadth out of it as you do with your finger. So for the moment, this is what I'm stuck with, which does shake my table, so I think I need a better camera setup. But for the time being, this is quite good. Like here it does get a bit muddy, and as you can see, skipped. I do find that sometimes I get a bit overwhelmed with the recording, so I have to take a minute, carry on with the painting with no pressure, and then come back to it. So obviously cleared up the muddiness a little bit, give it a bit more of a reflection, although it is reflecting kind of diagonally. But yeah, this bit's one of my favourite parts, is the highlights, just bringing out those lighter tones in the painting. The white, again, is quite hard to use. I think that might be a light blue, if not a white, but it's no, it is a white. It's just quite thin on top of these colours once they're already down. So I think maybe better medium, a better brand of oil pastel is probably where I'm going wrong there. But yeah, I do like how the water comes together on this. Now for my all-time favourite part, the tape peel. There is nothing better than this part, those clean, crisp edges. It took so long to find paper and tape that didn't tear. There's nothing worse than getting to the end of a painting and ripping through it with this tape. So yeah, these clean, crisp edges are just the best thing, and they really make the paintings for me, and they really are the final piece, the final part to bring it all together. I know I've not really spoke about process as much with this one, so we'll try and do that in future, but if you did like this, just let me know, give me a little comment, even subscribe. I have some nice little shorts that are much more appealing to watch than this. But yeah, there you go, there she is in all the glory. Thank you for watching.